what to do with current vendors that have now changed their entire persona in order to be the AI forward. I had made a joke about the fact that you've got a vendor that deals exclusively in paper up until just a few weeks ago, and they announced that they're all AI all the time. No more paper. So what do we do? And I think that it's again an opportunity to build some processes and to start to do some pretty heavy duty, but not long, internal documentation.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's right sizing the process to the risk and to the vendor. Periodic reassessments, is that every year? Is that quarterly? How often does that happen? Things are changing a lot faster, so for some vendors, you might need to speed up your reassessment timeline. I think it also is like a depth of reassessment. Are you doing a start to finish whole reassessment? Are you specifically checking for an expansion in scope or data or something else, or what does that reassessment look like? A lot of times it can be much lighter than the initial assessment, and sometimes it shouldn't be. Have both contractually and ideally technically triggers for when to kick off a new review on expansion. Obviously, if there's any sort of incident, if I knew who Discord's third-party customer service vendor was and we were using them, we would be reassessing them right now. That is just as an example. I think that like right sizing to your context and looking for the places that like figuring out what your canaries can be, right? Figuring out how you can get your early warnings and setting them up so you can get as much advance notice as possible. You don't want to be the blocker, and you also are the ones that control the brakes.
Yeah. And this is really an area where it's going to behoove you to have those productive relationships going with the business
Mhm.
because the vendor might not come to you and say, hey, we've changed a bunch of things. It might not be something where they're on top of that enough to realize that they might be in violation of their contract with you, or perhaps no, and are sort of dodging and bobbing and weaving until you figure it out. So having those conversations, thinking about when we talk about periodic reassessment, it might even need to be something where over the next couple of quarters, you consider periodic just touch points with the vendor to say, hey, has anything changed? Because it is, again, there is going to be no slack cut for anybody who is going to have as their defense, oh, but we were relying on the vendor to tell us. That's just not going to cut it. And I think that the other thing that's important is to remember that you need to follow this thought all the way to the end of the sentence, which is when you find out that something's changed and it changes the risk profile of that vendor, make sure you are circling back with legal to get those contracts updated because you need to be able to, again, protect the organization on all fronts and think about the different areas where this is going to, or we've got a change in risk, we've got a change in data processing type. We definitely are going to have a change needed from a contract perspective and certainly from a risk tiering. That vendor might go from critical and be downgraded, or alternatively go from a low risk to a very high risk vendor.